served my husband's family mac and cheese for dinner. So my husband Jake and I have been married for 2 years, and his mom Carol has always been this really passive-aggressive type who makes these little comments. Like when we got engaged, she literally said, "Oh well, I guess everyone finds someone eventually." Real charmer, right? Anyway, last month Jake's whole family was coming over for Sunday dinner. His parents, his sister Beth, her husband, and their 2 kids. Carol had been dropping hints for weeks about how she hoped I'd make an effort since the whole family would be there. She kept texting Jake about how his grandmother's pot roast recipe would be so meaningful and how important family traditions are. The thing is, I actually cook pretty well. I make homemade bread, I can do a decent roast. I've even made Jake's favorite lasagna from scratch. But this particular Sunday, I had been working double shifts all week at the hospital where I'm a nurse, and I was absolutely exhausted. Like, could barely keep my eyes open exhausted. So Saturday night, I'm standing in my kitchen at 9 p.m., and I realize I have literally nothing planned for this dinner. The grocery stores are closed. I've got maybe half a package of ground beef in my freezer and some random vegetables. I'm panicking because I know Carol is going to have something to say no matter what I make. Then I remember I've got this box of Kraft mac and cheese in my pantry. Not even the fancy kind with the cheese sauce packets. Just the regular powder stuff. And something in my brain just snapped. Like, you know what? I'm done trying to impress this woman who's never going to like me anyway. So Sunday comes around, and I make this mac and cheese. But here's the thing. I don't just dump it in a bowl. I transfer it to my nice serving dish, the one we got for our wedding. I even put a little paprika on top to make it look fancy. I set the table with our good china and light some candles. The family shows up at 5 p.m. sharp because Carol is one of those people who's exactly on time for everything. Jake lets them in, and I can already see Carol scanning the kitchen, probably looking for signs of whatever elaborate meal she's expecting. We all sit down at the table, and I bring out this beautiful serving dish. Carol's face just lights up because she thinks I've finally made something worthy of her precious family dinner. She's probably thinking I made some fancy baked mac and cheese with 3 different cheeses or something. I serve everyone their portions with this big smile on my face. The kids dig in immediately because, let's be honest, kids love mac and cheese. But then Carol takes her first bite and I watch her face just freeze. She chews really slowly, and I can literally see the moment she realizes what she's eating. Her eyes get wide and she looks at Jake, then at me, then back at her plate like she can't believe what just happened. "This is," she starts to say, and I jump in real cheerful and go, "Kraft mac and cheese. I thought we'd keep it simple today." The table goes completely silent except for the kids who are happily eating away. Jake's dad is trying not to laugh. I can see his shoulders shaking. Beth is staring at her plate like she's afraid to look up, and Carol just sits there with this expression like I've personally insulted her entire bloodline. Finally, she puts her fork down and goes, "Well, this is certainly different." I just smile and say, "I know! Sometimes the classics are the best, right? This is actually Jake's favorite brand from when he was a kid." Which was true. Jake had told me he used to beg his mom for Kraft mac and cheese, but she always insisted on making everything from scratch. Jake's trying so hard not to lose it. He takes a big bite and goes, just like I remember." And then his dad actually starts chuckling and says something about how he hasn't had the box stuff in years and forgot how good it was. But Carol is just sitting there fuming. She takes maybe 3 more bites and then announces she's not very hungry and just pushes her food around her plate for the rest of dinner when we were cleaning up afterwards. Carol corners me in the kitchen and goes, "You know, when you're hosting family dinner, people expect a certain level of effort." And I just looked at her and said, "Oh, I put in exactly the amount of effort this dinner deserved." She knew exactly what I meant. She didn't say another word to me the rest of the night.